The child who believes he is too clever to be deceived often becomes the easiest prey. On a cold morning, before the first rooster announced the dawn, the peaceful village of Odiyama awoke to the sound of horses galloping through its narrow paths. People rushed out of their huts. Women abandoned their cooking fires. Children stopped playing. Old men leaned on their walking sticks. Everyone watched in disbelief as 4 royal guards dragged a young man through the village in heavy chains. That young man was Tamunor, the same Tamunor who had always laughed louder than everyone else. The same Tamunor who believed no problem could ever catch up with him. Some villagers shook their heads. Others laughed openly. "I told you," one man shouted. "A careless child never grows into a careful man," cried another. Tamunor looked around at the crowd. Instead of crying, instead of begging, he smiled. A strange smile. Then he quietly said, "You're all celebrating too early. The man you seek is standing among you." The villagers immediately turned to look around. But before anyone could ask questions, the guard shoved Tamunor into a prison wagon and rode away. No one understood what he meant. No one. 3 months earlier, Tamunor was the most carefree young man in Odiyama. He wasn't poor. His late father had left him enough farmland to live comfortably. But farming required waking up before sunrise. Tamunor hated waking early, so he rented out his farmland for a few bags of yams every harvest season and spent the rest of his days wandering the village. If someone offered him work, he would smile. If I work today, he would say, "What excitement will tomorrow bring?" The elders sighed whenever they saw him. His widowed mother warned him every evening. "My son," she would say softly, "a river that refuses to flow eventually becomes a swamp." Tamunor always laughed. "Mother, people worry too much. His greatest talent wasn't strength, it wasn't wisdom, it was talking." Tamunor could convince almost anyone of almost anything. If he borrowed money, people believed he'd repay it. If he arrived late, he'd invent stories so convincing that people apologized to him instead. Some villagers even nicknamed him the boy luck could never abandon. No matter what trouble he entered, he somehow escaped. Or so everyone believed. One afternoon, while returning from the forest after avoiding another day of work, Tamunor noticed a worn leather bag beneath an ancient iroko tree. Curious, he picked it up. His heart nearly stopped. Inside were dozens of gleaming gold coins, more money than he had ever seen in his life. He looked around. The forest was silent. No footsteps, no voices, no witnesses. He smiled. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of hiding the money, Tamunor carried the bag straight to the village chief. The entire village praised him. Tamunor has finally become responsible. Women blessed him. Children clapped. Even the chief rewarded him with food and new clothes. For the first time in years, people respected him. That night, however, Tamunor quietly slipped out of his mother's hut. Not to steal, not to celebrate. He walked back to the same iroko tree. Because something had been bothering him. If someone lost one bag, he whispered, perhaps they lost another. He began digging beneath the tree. After nearly an hour, his fingers struck another leather bag. His eyes sparkled. He opened it eagerly. No gold, only old papers, maps, letters, names, strange symbols. Tamunor frowned. Worthless. Without reading a single page, he threw the entire bundle into a fire. The papers disappeared into ashes. He laughed and walked home. He never knew. Those papers contained the names of powerful men who had secretly stolen treasures from the king for years. And somewhere far away, one man smiled. His name was Chief Berie, the richest trader in 3 kingdoms. Everyone admired him. Everyone trusted him. No one knew he secretly led a network of thieves who robbed royal caravans. When Berie discovered the hidden documents had been burned, he asked only one question: who found them? His men answered, a young villager named Tamunor. Berie became silent. Then he smiled. Excellent. His servants looked confused. My lord, he destroyed the evidence. I know. Should we reward him? No. Kill him? Berie shook his head. No. He stared into the distance. If we kill him, people will ask why. But if we make the world believe he is a criminal, no one will ever search for the truth. The following week, Chief Berie arrived in Odiyama like a generous hero. He donated food, paid children's school fees, helped repair broken huts. The villagers adored him. Then he approached Tamunor. I have heard wonderful things about your honesty. Tamunor smiled proudly. Within days, Berie began giving him small jobs. Deliver this package, take this message, escort these visitors. Each task paid generously. Tamunor's mother couldn't believe the transformation. My son, perhaps God has finally remembered us. Tamunor believed so too. But every errand had a hidden purpose. Every visit placed Tamunor somewhere Berie wanted him seen. Every package quietly collected his fingerprints. Every handshake built trust. Every witness unknowingly became part of a trap. The spider was weaving its web, and the fly called it friendship. Then, one terrible morning, the king's sacred treasury was robbed. Royal drums echoed across every village. The kingdom shut its gates. No one could leave. Royal investigators searched every home. When they searched Tamunor's hut, they found one of the king's missing jewels beneath his sleeping mat. Tamunor froze. I have never seen that before. Nobody listened. Witnesses claimed they had seen him entering the royal compound. That was true. He had delivered food there for Chief Berie. His fingerprints were on royal storage boxes. Also true. He had carried Berie's packages. His footprints surrounded the treasury. Also true. He had delivered supplies the previous evening. Every truth had been twisted into a lie. For the first time in his life, Tamunor had no clever words, no excuses, no lucky escape. Only chains. As he stood before the king's court, Tamunor's eyes wandered through the crowd. Then he saw him, Chief Berie, standing quietly among respected elders, smiling. That smile, it was the same smile Tamunor himself had worn when he believed he could outsmart life. Everything suddenly became clear. The gold, the burned papers, the gifts, the jobs, the kindness, the friendship. Every step had been planned long before Tamunor knew he was walking into a trap. Berie had never trusted luck. He had trusted Tamunor's carelessness. Tamunor had spent years making foolish choices without thinking, and one day, someone used those very habits against him. The king sentenced Tamunor to prison. Years passed. One day, another member of Berie's criminal network was captured. Unable to bear the guilt, he confessed everything: the hidden crimes, the stolen treasures, the false evidence. The plan against Tamunor. Chief Berie was finally arrested. Tamunor was released. But freedom could not erase the years he had lost. His youth had disappeared behind prison walls. His mother's hair had turned white waiting for him. Some villagers apologized. Others avoided his eyes. Tamunor never blamed them. Instead, he gathered the village children beneath the same ancient iroko tree. He pointed to its roots and said, "Do you know where my life truly changed?" The children shook their heads. "Right here. I thought I was too clever to be fooled. I laughed at advice. I acted before I thought. And one day, A wicked man discovered that my greatest weakness was not my enemies, it was my own careless heart. From that day forward, Tamunor became the wisest storyteller in Odiyama. Whenever a child boasted that nothing bad could happen to them, he would simply smile and say, "The hunter does not fear the fastest animal. He waits patiently for the one that believes no trap was meant for it." And the elders added one final proverb that echoed through the generations. A careless person may escape trouble 100 times, but on the 101st, trouble will be waiting with chains. For more stories, do well to like, subscribe, and share this video. Till the next story, may wisdom guard your heart.